Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars and welcome to another of my PlayStation 4 reviews. Now today I am reviewing PES 2020 or Esports Football Pro Evolution Soccer 2020. Now I'm not doing a review of the full game because essentially I just tend to buy this game for the Master League mode. So if you're looking for a full review of everything in this game, you're not going to find it here. This is just a review of the Master League because that's essentially all I play. The other aspects, the online, the other parts of the game, I've no real interest in really. I'm more of a career player, which is why I choose Master League with Pro Evolution Soccer. Now this year promised some quite detailed upgrades. There was some promise that there was going to be some improvements to the Master League. It's been a bit stale over the last 2 or 3 years with very few changes really, and has PES 2020 as it revamped, revitalized the Master League? Well, yes and no is the best way I can put it really, and being brutally honest about it, other than some very welcome cutscenes that does add to the immersion. Very little else has changed, if I'm being honest with you. There are some subtle changes into how the game plays. Obviously, every single year there are incremental changes to how PES plays, and they do the same with FIFA, to how that game plays. And to veterans of the game, they notice them. I wouldn't call myself a veteran of PES or FIFA. I don't tend to play an awful lot of the football in them. I'm more of a manager. I like to manage the teams, generally speaking. So if you're familiar with the format of PES, you're going to feel one of two things really: either completely comfortable very, very quickly, or very disappointed very, very quickly, because the menu, other than a few cosmetic changes, feels the same. There's a couple of changes into how it looks and some of the wallpapers and backgrounds and all that kind of stuff, but it's desperately outdated, I think, into for example the game plan. As you're looking at now, the game plan for PES is seriously lacking in options compared to games like FIFA. It just is. And if for me as well, because I support Manchester United, so I obviously am going to choose Manchester United, and Manchester United are one of the sponsored teams this year again, one of the partner teams. Well, number one with this game, we had to wait for the update. So if you bought the game on the day of its release, it was the rosters were out of date. You know, Lukaku hadn't gone to Inter, we hadn't bought Maguire, all that kind of stuff. So you had to wait till the 12th of September, I believe it was, for the update, which they apologised for. Fair enough. So you wait for the update, and you're a Man United fan, and you're going to do a career. Now, Man United only bought 3 players this summer: Harry Maguire, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who are in the game and are looking pretty good, and Daniel James. Sorry, but the effort that has gone in to create Daniel James, well, there is none. And that's something that massively frustrates me with this game. If you're going to make Man United one of your partners, but you cannot be bothered to render one of their new signings, it's just lazy as far as I'm concerned. And I'm guessing most people, no matter what team you support, if you start the Master League and choose whether it be Liverpool, Arsenal, Real Madrid, Barcelona, whatever, there's going to be players in your team that are just look nothing like the actual players, because I think for me it's a level of laziness, and especially if it's one of the partner teams. And by that it means that they're fully licensed. You've got all the shirts and the stadium and things like that. So for me, I think that's just a little bit lazy. They do say they have made improvements into the transfers, making them more realistic. Well, again, it's yes and no. To me, it doesn't feel any different really. Yes, the prices are more realistic now. For example, if you want to buy Jadon Sancho, it's going to cost you about between 60 and 90 million, whereas in previous years you could pick him up for 20 million. You know what I mean? The prices were ridiculously low. So yes, the only real difference I think with the transfers is that the transfer market values are more in line with what you would expect, but not in all cases. Some of them are still ridiculously low. And you have an option when you start your Master League if you want to make transfers like realistic or easy, so that basically you can sign anybody. So if you want to start your Master League and sign anybody, then you can. Basically, it makes it much easier. Now, another thing that we thought was going to be improved is you could usually with PES Master League, you could create your own manager in your own image. Now, I quite like that option, and this year, inexplicably, they've taken that away, and you can only really choose a legend, and all these legends are like South American legends. You've got Diego Maradona and Roberto Carlos, and and Rude Hullet as well. You've got all these legends, so-called legendary managers, which I would seriously question with some of them, that you can choose to manage your club. But I don't really want them. I would prefer to create a manager in my own image, thank you. So I'm not sure that that's an improvement in regards to Master League. And once again, the commentary is incredibly dull, incredibly frustrating, and really drags the game's quality down, I think, when you're watching the games. So there are things here in this game that they haven't improved at all. But yes, in regards to Master League, they have definitely improved the game in regards to immersion. You feel like you are like a manager in a team now, and by that the cutscenes are very good. You get a cutscene when you first join the club, you know, introduced to the players and things like that, and then you get cutscenes through the transfer window. You get cutscenes in the dressing room before important games. You get press conferences now where you can give responses, and it all feels more immersive. And the main menu screens makes you feel quite immersive because it shows clips of interviews that you've done or your teammates getting along, all that kind of stuff. That has been an improvement, but also say for example when you're at a press conference, if you gave a negative answer that would potentially affect the morale of the team, you don't really feel that within the team. You don't feel like there's any consequences. It just feels like you're choosing a response in a press conference, and you don't have much control about what you're saying in dressing rooms or what you're saying during the transfer window to the people that are on your staff team, if you like. So they're just cutscenes, and they're the same throughout. So if you quit 6 months into your Master League and start again with another team, you'd see exactly the same cutscenes with the same staff. So it doesn't feel unique to your career, if you like, and that's just the way it is. So yes, there are improvements to Master League, but I don't think they've added a huge amount to the game. But I will say this: if you're a fan of PES, you're going to be a fan of this new PES 2020. Yes, it looks nice, the character models look great, but don't be expecting huge improvements here, because I haven't seen it and I've been playing PES for years. So I'm going to give this game an 8 out of 10. It is certainly worth it if you're a fan of PES, but if you're not a fan of PES, I don't really see what this game is going to do to win you over. And if you're a big fan of Master League, yes, they've made some cosmetic changes, yes, they've made some changes by adding cutscenes and things, but everything else kind of feels the same. So thanks for watching.